Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name is Margaret, or Margaret Corleone Blues, and today is a very important day. It is Jake Blues' birthday. Yes, Jake Blues, the love of my life. Look at him, look at him, look at back there, like all over my room, behind us. Draco, stop it. Yeah, today's Jake Blues' birthday. Yes, Jake Blues' birthday is canonically July 24th, 1952. You might be wondering how I know that, and that's because this little book called Blues Brothers Private. Here we go. Look how beautiful that is. So the release of this book coincided with the movie and has Jake and Elwood's backstories that Dan and John came up with before they even performed as the Blues Brothers on SNL. They had all these backstories for the guys. So I figured in honor of Jake's birthday, it would be fun to go through the book and let you guys know what other information about the Blues Brothers are in it. And I believe when this was originally released, it came with the concert poster from the movie. Mine didn't come with it. And these are really easy to find on eBay. So you should have no trouble getting a copy of this if you don't have it yet. So it was put together by Judith Jacqueline. Also, you guys probably know her as my girl, Judy Belushi Pisano, John's wife. And Tino and Sana. So if you're a John and Dan fan, he's one of John's friends that he did comedy with in Chicago before joining Second City, and he's also in Neighbors. He's the really tall fireman guy that just like picks up John like he's nothing and throws him, and he was one of John's best friends. So they put this book together. And there's a lot of really cool stuff in it, and I just want to show you guys. John's birthday is January 24th. And Jake's birthday is July 24th, so they made Jake's birthday exactly 6 months after John. And then Jake and Elwood, I think, are each 3 years younger than John and Dan, because John was born in 49 and Jake was born in 52. So Jake's 71! I'm married to a 71-year-old man. Age gap relationships. Jake normally doesn't get a kiss till then, so he gets extra for his birthday. Okay, so here's the cover. It looks like... Here's the beautiful cover. So essentially this is supposed to look like the Penguin's files on Jake and Elwood. This is what it's supposed to be. So it's supposed to look like a file folder. So then there is St. Helens of the Blessed Shroud. So the first few pages are just talking about background information about the St. Helens of the Blessed Shroud. So there's Curtis with the kids, and it talks about how he teaches the kids music. Love you, Curtis, the goat. Cap Calloway, my fellow Marylander. He was born in New York, though. He was born in Rochester. But he was born and raised in Maryland, and he played professional basketball in Maryland. And there's an ad for Ray's Music Exchange. Super cool. So here we get really into the book, and here is the file on Jake. Oh, there he is. Look how beautiful he is. He's the most beautiful man ever. He's the sexiest man ever. I love you, Jake. Those directions. Okay. So then there is a picture of Jake at 4 years old, and then this is a file on his mother because she was in prison. She was pregnant when she went to jail. So Artesia Papa George. Fun fact, Papa George is the Americanized version of the Greek last name Papa Yorgos, and I have Papa Yorgoses in my family. Back in the day, it's usually shortened to Papa George or Papas. It's like one of the most common last names in Greece. So Jake and I might be related. Sweet home Alabama. So something I find interesting is that it has inmate's version of the crime. It says she doesn't remember. Something else I find interesting is that it has her parents' names as Agnes Papa George and Adam Papa George, and John Belushi's parents are Adam and Agnes Belushi. So Jake Blues' grandparents are named after John's parents. So this is the infirmary report of when she gave birth to Jake. So I can read you some of that if you would like. Inmate Artie Papa George was very ill when she went into labor, blah, blah, blah. So she claimed she didn't know who the father was, and the physician joked that I haven't heard that one since the Immaculate Conception or Anakin Skywalker. She died right after giving birth, and she decided on naming the child Jake, even if it was a girl. I'm going to take that idea from you. After a very hard and painful delivery, her last words were, "Let me see the child and die. We did, then she did." That's very sad. Poor Jake. Little Jake was not an easy delivery and was born with colic, gagging, and coughing. As there was little else we could do, we just left him on a mattress and let him cough. That's so sad. Poor Jake. Because he was left alone, he pulled through. Then we took him to the orphanage at St. Helen of the Blessed Shroud because we feel the child will benefit from placement in a Catholic orphanage affiliated with this correctional district. Poor Jake. Okay, so now there's Jake's application for admission for St. Helens of the Blessed Shroud. And this is where we have his birthday, which is 7/24/52. Boy's name, Papa George Jacob. And just kind of background information. And but then we get to the bottom, and there is a star. So it says explanation for why he was adopted. Mother died in childbirth. And then under it, it says star. Jake changed his last name to Blues 32362. Files are kept under both names. Then here is file information. Little Jake's mother passed on after she brought him into the world. May the good Lord have mercy on her soul. So then here is when Jake was in foster care a few times. We will talk about that. Jake was in foster care when he was 5. The Glicks stated that they had always wanted children during the holiday season. Jake was fine at Thanksgiving and before Christmas, but on Christmas Day, after Mrs. Glick told Jake to be careful because all of his new toys cost a lot of money, Jake deliberately broke them all and melted them in a lamp. From then on, he became more of a problem every day. There was another one at 8 years old. Mrs. Bader claimed that Jake was a lazy, good-for-nothing boy. On November 16th, 1961, Bates stated that Jake was continually clowning around at work. Jake claimed he was stuck in a chimney. It took the fire department 2 hours to free him. Later that evening, after he had eaten his supper, Jake asked for more food. Bates then struck a blow to Jake's head with a ladle. Although Mrs. Bates thought very highly of Jake, she felt it was better for her marriage to return the boy. She made a $25 donation towards his ward. So then here we have some of Jake's behavior patterns. So this is where we get the backstory of Jake's puppy eyes, which we know that's like my favorite scene. So Jake is usually a well-behaved and loving little boy, except when he gets cranky or worked up over a good game of steal the bacon. He especially does not like to pick up after himself. He is very fond of one of the other orphans here, Elwood. Aww. And watches over him like a big brother. Ah. Okay, now here's the puppy eyes. Jake can give you a look that makes you believe he is an angel, but he's got a bit of the devil in him for sure. I think he bribes Elwood to pick up his toys of late. He likes to visit Curtis, the janitor's room, and sing and dance along with his records. Oh, that is so cute. So it says, when this child works in a group of his peers, he most often behaves to become the leader. Jake is very happy with playing with others. Practice for being a band leader. When this child works alone, he most often behaves by getting into mischief. When authority figures place limits on this child, he most often responds by, he usually breaks rules he doesn't like. Jake doesn't give a crap. Oh, this is cute. When this child feels afraid, he most often behaves by hiding in Curtis's room. When this child feels criticized, he most often behaves by getting depressed and then becomes difficult. When this child feels pressure, he most often behaves by pleading and crying. It wasn't my fault, I swear to God. So the next page is Jake's report card. He did not do very well in school. It's okay, I won't judge you, Jake. He mostly got D's and C's and a couple B pluses. And his teacher said, Jake is messy and lazy. He has a terrible writing problem. He writes backwards. He likes social studies and talking about people from different places. Sometimes he laughs to himself, which disrupts the class. So then one of his other teachers says Jake has many learning disabilities and should be held back. Oh, poor Jake. Okay, here's one of Jake's homework assignments where you can see an example of him writing backwards. And this is pretty funny. Your dog is cat. You tell time from a man. To stay alive, you eat food. You eat Jake meals a day. I mean, hey, I'd have this man for every meal for every day if I could. We get milk from a man. You go to bed to go to bed. We go to bed to pray. You have a father and a nun. That's actually really sad. To pick up leaves, you use a man. Draw a picture of your house, and then I'm so bad at this. And then it's a drawing of the penguin. This is Jake's medical assessment in 1960. So Jake is 8 years old here. This is great. Is the child, or has he ever been followed in any clinics for any reason? If so, identify, blah, blah, blah. Calumet Eye, Ear, and Nose Clinic. Jake was told he couldn't leave the dinner table until he finished his piece. So when he left alone, he hid them up his nose and couldn't get them out. Oh my God. List any known allergies. Vegetables. List any known major medical problems. It is very difficult to wake Jake in the morning. Same. Note, identify learning problems. Jake can only read out loud, but he doesn't write backwards anymore. Good for you, Jake. I'm proud of you. Sleep disturbances. Explain reoccurring nightmare that one of his bottom teeth is growing too big for his mouth. Okay, next, appetite and eating habits. This is great. Jake has a problem controlling his eating. 4 pieces of toast and jelly, oatmeal, 2 bowls, 1 quart of milk, lunch, 2 peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Getting that Elvis fandom started early. No wonder he likes Jailhouse Rock. Fruit Twinkies and a quart of milk. Dinner, he likes chicken and ribs, no vegetables, bread, 1 quart of milk, and dessert. Often steals Elwood's dessert too. Poor Elwood. Snacks, soda pop, Twinkies, cake, candy bars, marshmallows, pickles, dog biscuits. This man was eating dog biscuits as a child. Why did they have dog biscuits for children? Like, what kind of orphanage is this if they just have dog biscuits sitting around to feed kids? Or is there like some snack from the 70s I'm not aware of called dog biscuits? But looks like also Jake would get along with Egon Spengler because he really likes Twinkies. And pickles. Love pickles. Same Jake. Okay. So this is Jake's petition to legally change his name. It is therefore ordered, adjudged, and decreed that said petitioner's name be and the same is hereby changed from Jake Papa George to Jake Elwood Blues. Yay! Okay, the Weekly Shroud, the St. Helens newsletter written by the kids. I want to read this because this is great. August 30th, 1963, so that means Jake is 11? Published weekly at St. Helens, and then, I don't know if you could tell, but the drawing is like 2 kids, and then it's Jake and Elwood and their sunglasses. I love that. That is the cutest thing. Okay, if anyone involved with like the Blues Brothers merchandising is watching this, make sure it's with that St. Helens, the Blessed Shroud t-shirts with Jake and Elwood. That is so cute. Okay, if you live in dormitory A, then you are probably used to listening to Elwood learning to play the harmonica. It never seemed like he would learn before. Someone couldn't stand it anymore and hit his instrument. But last Saturday night at St. Knox Youth Dance, we learned different. He must have been practicing on the roof or something because he played really good with his brother Jake's band. Jake got the Ravens together last year, and he is the singer, if you don't know. Jake can sing good, too. I agree. Also, little tidbit side note, John Belushi's band in high school was the Ravens, so that's what they're named after. John played drums, and if you type in John Belushi Ravens on YouTube, I think 1 or 2 of their songs is on here. So, yeah, definitely check that out. There's also a guitar player named Dickie Blasucci, and a drummer named Scott Gruden. People danced and it was a lot of fun. The only bad thing was they only knew 5 songs, but it was okay anyway because they played them over and over again. How many times did Elwood sing Rubber Biscuit? That's what I want to know. In-depth report. Everybody knows Curtis, our good friend and janitor. He is very happy about Jake and Elwood Blues and their new band called the Ravens. I helped them find an appreciation for good music, Curtis told me. They've been playing along with my old records at night, working real hard. For all the new kids, Jake and Elwood have been here ever since they were babies, except when they were fostered out a few times. Curtis told me about what happened one night. One night, Jake came in with an E string he said came from Elmore James's guitar. This is like famous Blues Brother lore, if you're a big fan. Curtis told me about what happened one night. One night, Jake came in with an E string he said came from Elmore James's guitar. He held it tight and sliced Elwood's middle finger and then his own. That night, Jake and Elwood became blood brothers. I asked Curtis if the noise from Jake and Elwood's practicing bothered him. He said, "No way, they play good." He told me some more stuff. They came down to my room in the basement, and I sing the blues with them and tell them stories about the great blues artists like Howling Wolf, Muddy Waters, and Little Walter. So another list of Jake's behavior patterns. Jake gets into a lot of trouble lately, but you can hardly stay mad at him. He's become quite a shoulder of the something story and is very popular with the other boys. I mean, Jake's the best. Of course he's popular. Especially his spirited brother Elwood. I think he enjoys the attention of being a troublemaker. Jake, you can get in trouble with me any day. Some more behavior patterns. When this child works in a group of his peers, he most often behaves by gaining their respect. He is a good leader, but he does tend to mislead the group. When this child works alone, he most often behaves by falling asleep. Same. When authority figures place limits on the child, he most often responds by he talks back. Jake's got his sassy pants on. When this child feels afraid, he most often behaves by Jake says he's not afraid of anything. When this child feels criticized, he most often behaves by, depending on who it is, he either listens or gets mad. Same. When this child feels pressured, he most often behaves by coming up with a scheme to ignore the pressure. Another one of Jake's report cards. The only project Jake finished in shop was a zip cut. Shows potential but doesn't do assignments. If Jake would come to class, maybe he'd learn something. Damn it, Jake. Now we have Jake's first stint with getting in trouble with the law, his first juvenile investigation report. Let's see what Jake got in trouble for, and it was vandalism. Defacing public property, wrote with black paint, Jake and Elwood on the tank of the water tower. Elwood chooses to remain silent. Jake said they didn't do it. Change in name, originally said his name was Walter Horton. Elwood Blues, M. Michaels, that's arresting officer. On routine patrol of water tower area, I seen two persons descending the water tower ladder. Upon investigation, I found above juvenile said they had climbed the tower to observe 4th of July fireworks. At first, juveniles told me his name was Walter Horton and he had never heard of a Jake or Elwood. Both Juves had black paint on hands, face, clothing, and shoes. Further investigation of the area found paint and brushes. There is Jake and Elwood on the water tower painted. Here's a list of all of Jake's juvenile crimes. So I will read that all for you. And 65, vandalism, Calumet City Freight Yard. Theft, vandalism. None questioning, truancy, Lincoln Park Zoo. Vandalism, public property, resist arrest, truancy, theft, possession, stolen property, drunken disorderly, Cook County Forest Preserve, drunken disorderly, Cook County Forest Preserve, hitchhiking, resist arrest, Chicago Skyway, shoplifting, Calumet Supermarket, shoplifting, A&P, also trespassing. So then here's another report of his getting in trouble for trespassing, actually. Juvenile Jake Blues is charged with alleged criminal trespass, allegedly stealing a 1963 Ford model delivery truck belonging to Chicago Pressed Heads Metal Milling, allegedly driving without a license, and breaking terms of probation. Now we know why Elwood does all this crap. On July 10th, 1965, juvenile perpetrator who resides at St. Helens, charged with allegedly climbing the protective metal fence surrounding Chicago Pressed Heads Metal Milling, altering the ignition wiring system of the Ford delivery truck. Juvenile committed alleged crime. For that reason, he's the leader of a musical combo called the Ravens, and that aforesaid musical combo had an engagement at the Universal Life Coffee House on the corner of blah blah blah. He needed the foresaid vehicle to take musical instruments and members of the combo to the engagement. Juvenile resisted arrest by claiming he had received permission from Chicago press heads and found to be untrue. When arresting, he was going to be taken into custody. He picked up an electric guitar and swung it at police officer. My God, Jake! Oh my God, Jake! What was Jake? I love Jake. I still love him. This actually makes me like Jake more. I didn't think that was possible. That's just... I love him. Other juveniles were present at the time and location of arrest, but defendant later confessed to being solely responsible for incidents. This is kind of cool because this kind of ties back to when or later in the movie, we see this behavior in the movie when he steals the money to pay for everyone's room service. So the Department of Interaction. So this is a report from the Juvie Center. Interaction with peers is good. Jake continues to ignore his cleaning jobs in the cottage. He still doesn't do the laundry. He spends most of his time sleeping in his cottage. Same. Achievement, blah, blah, blah. So, Jake has been more tardy this month. Many disciplinary write-ups, often claims to feel ill and wants to go to the infirmary. Results of interest and achievement. So then re-entry for community visits. Jake will not be eligible for some time because he has lost a lot of achievement points. Jake's sentence may have to be completed. No early parole. Oh. Jake and Camille's wedding invitations. It says, the most joyous of occasions is a union of man and woman in celebration of life. Our joy will be complete if you can share in the ceremony, uniting our daughter Camille Zedetalik. I'd never noticed her name. That's Mysterious Woman. And Jake Blue, Saturday the 22nd of January, 1977, 11 o'clock at Sacred Grace Parish. If you are unable to attend, or your presence in thought and prayer. Jake's my husband, Camille, so what about it? Okay, first off, is that not the sexiest man you've ever seen in your life? And if you say no, you're lying. Look at him. Look. Oh my god, he's so hot. Oh my god, I'm just gonna look at him. Oh my gosh. You're so beautiful, Jake. I love you. Oh my gosh, look at him. That was a hot picture. That was a sexy picture. Oh my god. I didn't actually kiss it, but only because I'm wearing lipstick and I don't want to ruin my book with lipstick. So, missing persons report. I think this is probably Camille filed it because this was when they were supposed to... Yeah, this was 2 days after the wedding was supposed to be. So I'm assuming Camille filed this. Reported missing person, name Jake E. Blues, Joliet Correction Center. Cause of absence, breach of promise. Age 29, height 5'9", weight 190. Eye color brown, hair color black. Mustache style and color none. Beard style and color black, long sideburns. Hot. That's sexy. Complexion dark. Deformities, person filing says should use caution because man is quick and aggressive. Hot. Tattoos, marks right hand crossed with time dots. Jake on fingers. Hot. Joliet, true name alias. Joliet Jake. So this is June 3rd, 77. So I'm assuming this is when he... Oh yeah, this is the gas station. This is the next page. This is when Jake is arrested for holding up the gas station. So we can give you some more of that information. So on June 3rd, 1977, Officer Mike Baccarelli pulled into Clark Station on Ogden Avenue in Berwyn, Illinois to purchase cigarettes. Upon arrival at gas station, officer witnessed a 10:30 in progress. Suspected white male was holding gas station attendant at gunpoint. By the time officer had exited patrol car and drawn service revolver, gas station attendant had disarmed suspect, and suspect was standing with his arms raised. So then this is Jake's statement on the event. I had just stopped by the gas station on my way home from work to pick up a pack of cigarettes. I was carrying a lot of cash on me and I was quite nervous, and then this guy who I thought was working there pulled a gun on me and I raised my arms. I didn't want any trouble, and that's when the police car drove in. Boy, was I glad to see him. The officer said, Jake, the arresting officer saw you holding a gun pointed at the gas station attendant. So Jake said, okay, so I did it. But I did it because I needed the money for my mother. She had to get a job to get money for an eye operation, but it's not enough. Then she accidentally fell down, and now she needs another operation. So that's 2 operations and no money, but if we had socialized medicine, she could have them for free. But in this country, healing means big money. Ain't that the truth? Still. Officer, Jake, we know you don't have a mother. That's so sad. Oh my god. Okay, I'll level with you. I needed money for a big room service bill, but all I got was green stamps and a bunch of Valvoline. I love him. I love you, Jake. You're... Oh, marry me. Oh, there's his fingerprint. Sexy. Oh, hot. So then there's his inmate record card with this sexy picture. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's a letter that Jake wrote to the Penguin. Dear sister, I am fine. How are you? Please send me $104. I'll pay you back later. Thank you, Jake. Amen. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Look at him. Oh. Couple goals. Oh, so now we get a letter from Elwood, and I'll read that. I'm over my cold now. Thanks for the remedy. How are you? The band sounds real good. We had a gig last night. We played at a high school dance just to keep in shape. Did Rubber Biscuit at least 3 times, and closes your share. Not much. Maybe you can buy some smokes. I keep in touch with all the guys. Just like you asked. Elwood, we know you're lying. I've got all their addresses and phone numbers. Everybody's looking forward to playing again, especially Matt. I just had the Bluesmobile tuned up. She's so smooth as silk. But you have your microphone. Even had her washed. I'll see you in 3 weeks on Visitor's Day. Everything else is good. Your brother, Elwood. And next is Camille. And she cut Jake out with a picture. I would never do that to you, Jake. Even if you left me at the altar, I would still love you forever. And you could be my husband anytime. Look at this perfectly hot picture of Jake that she ruined. Okay, to Jake Blues from Camille, due immediately. He owes her almost $2,000 for the wedding. And, let's see. Fabric for bridal gown. Labor for making dress and beading on imitation pearls. 1 pair of white bridal shoes, 1 pair of bridal pantyhose, flowers, tuxedo rental for you, you asshole. I would never call you an asshole, Jake. Catering for 300 people. Then why do you invite all those people? Dave Walensky's Polka review, sorry. 3 packages, thank you notes. 7 limousines for Mad Pete Trullo, 3-hour minimum, bridal garter, sheer black negligee with matching bikini panties. I'd wear that for Jake. Non-refundable deposit, Cherry Inn Motel, somewhere, Michigan. Let's go stay there, Jake. 1 black garter belt, 1 black pair nylons, 1 dozen crotchless panties. I'd wear those for Jake. Handcuffs. Not gonna comment on that. But it should be me and not Camille. Juliet Correctional Center with Jake's personal property. Age 26, armed robbery, blah, blah, blah. 1 unused prophylactic, 1 soiled, 1 man's hair comb, 2 gold-plated finger rings, 1 black suit jacket, 1 pair of blue suit something, and then, because there's a picture of Jake, 1 pair of sunglasses, 1 black hat, 1 black necktie. And here's this little cute picture of Jake reading. Oh, thought you didn't know how to read, Jake. Are you reading out loud? Oh, he's looking at Hustler magazine. He doesn't need to read that. And then finally, Jake's certificate of discharge and release. So Jake's parole, obey all laws and parole release rules. Include, accept advice from your agent, maintain regular employment, submit a written report on forms provided on the first day of every month. Advise your agent immediately if you change your home address. Do not own or possess a firearm. Consult your agent before going to debt. Visiting or writing correctional center residents, traveling outside of the state, getting married. Oh, I guess Jake and I will have to do that. Changing residence or job. So on this correctional things, they wrote the addresses for Murph and Mr. Fabulous. That's pretty cool. So then Special Task Force from Burden Mercer, aka John Candy. Let's see what this is. I will be needing assistance in the apprehension of parole violator Jake Blues. I recommend this should be done through the Special Task Force. Jake Blues Jake Blues failed to report to me the day of his release, immediately breaking the terms of his parole. Well, maybe if Elwood had made him visit the Penguin right away. So it was confirmed that his brother Elwood Blues met him upon his Wednesday release from Joliet Correctional. I suspected he was still with him, so his address through motor vehicle department. Two of them turned up downtown in an old hotel. They must have anticipated trouble because they rigged their door with explosives. Oh my god, that is funny. They thought that Jake and Elwood rigged the door instead of Carrie Fisher blowing them up. That is funny. These guys are real amateurs, because when the booby trap was activated, the entire building blew up. That is great. That is funny. Anyone who would blow up a whole building just to escape is a menace to everyone, including themselves. Damn. There you have Mr. John Candy. R.I.P. We love you, John Candy. Even though we don't like Britta Mercer. So that was it for the Jake section. So now we're going to talk about Elwood. This is for all the Elwood fans out there. Everybody's favorite little harmonica player. And my throat is dry. So in honor of Dan, we're going to do a cheers to Elwood with our Slammer mug. So there's not information about Elwood's parents because he was found at a newspaper stand. So there is a police report for victim of abuse or neglect. So Elwood was found by the police officer on December 9th, 1953. Oh, so he's only a year younger than Jake. I thought they were 3 years apart, like John and Dan. Okay, ignore me. Yeah, they found him at a newsstand at 16:30 hours. The officer was assigned to and responded to a call concerning a lost child. Upon arrival at aforementioned address, was met by complaint. They met by the owner of Peter's newspaper, staying at the aforementioned address, who stated that while on routine duty at approximately blah blah blah, while on duty at approximately 15:45 hours, a white female wearing dark glasses and dark hat, partially covering her face, and driving a blue or black Dodge or Plymouth, pulled up to his newspaper stand, and then stated that he reached out to give her a late edition of newspaper and received payment for same. And at this point, female suspect handed him a male white infant wrapped in a powder blue baby blanket, then drove off. So that's really funny because I don't think I've ever read that part, that the mom was wearing dark sunglasses and a dark hat. So I guess it runs in the family. So then they contacted St. Helen. And here's Elwood's admittance into St. Helens of the Blessed Shroud. So Elwood's legal last name was Delaney because that was the last name of the officer who responded to the report of him missing. So boy's name Delaney Elwood, birth date 12/6/53. I think that's the day before Vito Corleone's birthday. Elwood's birthday is the day before Vito Corleone's birthday. Very cool. Blah blah blah. Department of Children and Family Services. Yeah. So explanation for why he was being admitted. Elwood was found at a newspaper stand on the south side of Chicago. Elwood changed his last name to Blues 3/23/62. Files are kept under both names. Woo! And so this is Elwood's foster home. So he was at the Glicks so he went to 3 foster homes, unlike Jake, who went to just 2. So it was the Glicks, like Jake. That's when Jake melted the toys. So see Jake at Papa George. Elwood was well behaved during the holiday, but after Jake was sent back to St. Helens, Elwood broke all of his toys and was also returned. No more children were requested. Oh, this is cute. The bond of Jake and Elwood are very strong, and we should keep them together. Behavior patterns for Elwood, and then this little drawing he did of when they went to go see a missile. I keep having a ton of issues with my camera, so bear with me. Okay, Elwood is a very sweet, shy, and quiet boy and is very quick to learn when he is interested. In the last years, he has become very independent, except for his friendship with Jake Papa George. Elwood likes to draw and is very good at putting plastic something models together for a boy this age. He has been collecting the stamps off the orphanage letters. This child works in groups of his peers. He most often behaves by some children he works very well with, but if he doesn't like them, he won't talk to them. When this child works alone, he most often behaves by he keeps very busy. When authority figures place limits on this child, he most often responds by he is a very agreeable boy. When authority figures place limits on this child, he most often when this child feels afraid, he most often behaves by running to Jacob. Aww. When this child feels criticized, he most often behaves by trying to do better. When this child feels pressured, he most often behaves by runs away. That explains why he runs away. So then his health report, he went to the infirmary because he had minor burns on his hands. Elwood lit a tube of glue on fire and was burned. We administered first aid and took him to Dr. H. Thompson. Any other known major medical problems? Elwood slouches so severely we worry it could stunt his growth. And he's really tall, so I guess that didn't stunt his growth. Learning problems, short attention span. He sits near the window in class and is easily distracted by passing automobiles. And he spells very poorly. Appetite, eating habits. Elwood feels that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Usually eats a well-balanced meal. Usually skips lunch and just has water. Oh my god, I could never. Dinner, eats what he's served. Snacks, you guessed it, toast. So his progress report: Elwood should participate more in class discussions. He does not like to participate in sports. Elwood has a very inquisitive mind. And then more behavior patterns. Elwood is polite and well-mannered, and as it weren't for his and if it weren't for his friendships with Jake, he probably wouldn't get into much trouble as he does. He is stubborn when his mind is set on something, as in this friendship with Jake. I'm sure Jake is leading him down the road to sin. Jake can lead me down the road to sin any day. Elwood used to want to be a policeman. Now he wants to play in Jake's band. Identify any hobbies. He hasn't been doing much but playing harmonica. When this child works in a group of his peers, he most often behaves by impatient with slower learners, although not mean to them. When this child works alone, he most often behaves by works well alone, plays harmonica, looks at car magazines. None of that's surprising to anyone. When authority figures place limits on this child, he most often responds by he seldom argues over it. He just does what he pleases. When this child feels afraid, he most often behaves by confides in Jake. When this child feels criticized, he most often behaves by he examines the criticisms and makes up his own mind. When this child feels pressure, he most often behaves by often gets in a fight. Damn, Elwood. Ooh, now Elwood's in trouble with the law. On 25th of July 1973 at 18:30 hours, Officer Kelly stopped a 1968 black Cadillac, Illinois license plate, blah, 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 northbound. Officer issued citations and retained violator Elwood Blues' license. On that same day, Kelly witnessed same Cadillac headed southbound on Ashland Avenue, failed to stop at red light, went off, made visual ID of driver of vehicle. He had positive confirmation this was the same driver he had earlier cited. Officer approached suspect, who was very friendly and must not have recognized the officer because suspect handed officer an Illinois driver's license. Remember that he had earlier impounded suspect's Illinois driver's license off checked documents and determined it was forged. When officer went back to patrol car to make a report, suspect Elwood Blues drove away, warrant issued. Okay, Johnny Friendly is his other alias. So Elwood's citations: speeding, towing multiple vehicles, driving while intoxicated, reckless driving, spinning out in circles, driving too fast for conditions, drag racing, reckless, driving without license, speeding, detained, reckless driving, destruction of public property, Lincoln Park Zoo, leaving scene, reckless driving, driving sideways down a one-way street, warrant issued, speed officer McKelly, 70 miles over the speed limit, Jesus, Elwood, apprehended, detained, Jesus, Elwood, damn. And here's Elwood sitting in the window. Did, like, the penguin take that? Was she following them that day? So then here's Elwood's employment termination for when he quits. And it says, employment terminated, reason, quit to become a priest. So this is a police report for when Jake and Elwood they're looking for Jake and Elwood in the movie. Let's see what their charges were. Driving while licensed under suspension, reckless driving causing hazardous driving conditions, non-weather related, reckless driving, driving on a public sidewalk, reckless driving failed to yield to a drawbridge, reckless driving, automobile witness to do a 360 backflip, reckless driving, assault with an automobile, reckless driving, exceeding speeds of 120 miles per hour, reckless driving, resisting arrest, suspect's car vaulted over police car, reckless driving, driving the wrong way down a one-way street, reckless driving, hazardous driving in an Italian neighborhood. What? Reckless driving, exceeding speeds 100 miles per hour. Reckless driving, exceeds speeds of 100 miles per hour, lower Wacker Drive. Reckless driving, making a U-turn at speeds of 100 miles per hour. Reckless driving, driving an automobile not on the highway. Reckless driving in public parking lot, failure to obey traffic controls. Signs in public parking lot, reckless driving, enter a shopping mall in motor vehicle. Reckless driving to evade police officers, reckless driving, resisting arrest, leaving the scene of an accident, improper lane change, improper use of hand signal, failure to yield the right of way, failure to stop at stop sign, failure to stop at stoplight. Jake Blues, hot. Descriptions: 28 years old, 5'9", 190 to 200 pounds, black hair, brown eyes, long sideburns, always wears dark sunglasses, dark suit, and hat. Has name tattooed on his hand. Has been known to use MO, posing as official for Musicians Union, on parole from Joliet Correction Center. They forgot to say sexy. They forgot to say the sexiest man ever to ever live, walk the earth. Elwood, description: 27 years, 6 feet, 180 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes, long sideburns, always wears dark sunglasses, dark suit, and dark tie and hat. Also has name tattooed on hand. Will resist arrest by trying to outrun police. Caution: has no respect for driving safety or rules of the road. Suspects will drive a 1970-year-old Dodge police car, license plate Bluesmobile. Abandoned vehicle. Oh, this is an abandoned vehicle report of the Bluesmobile. There's a picture of that poor baby. This vehicle was abandoned in front of the Cook County building during a police pursuit. Suspect Blues Elwood, owner driver Blues Jake, escaped an abandoned vehicle, barricaded themselves in Cook County Boulevard. Vehicle used in numerous crimes committed by above suspects. Extremely wrecked in pieces, not drivable, impounded to police garage. So that was it. So now it's the band, and there is the band. So then here's a picture of Murph, Tom, Alan, Lou, and Willie. Oh, look at these cuties. I think they're for the most part, actual pictures of them. I don't think you can really see Alan. Local musical group to perform in Paris, Rome, and Vienna. Booking agent Maurice Line of Twilight Productions announced today's plans for a winter tour for local musical groups, the Blues Brothers Dance Band. Illinois vocalist convicted in gas station robbery. Local vocalist released from state packed with Joliet joint. Look at Jake. Oh my god, I'm sorry, but Jake is so hot. I can't contain it. Look at that. Oh god. Beautiful. Beautiful. This is great. There's Murph and the Magic Tones, a cute picture of Bones and Murph and Duck. The Colonel. Dear Mother, I know me as strange, something by the hours, it's cut off by the picture. One night only, Cleophas James in person. Legend. You've heard the word on the radio, you've heard the word on the television, you've heard the word on the spiritual records and tapes, but have you heard the word in person? With the Triple Rock Church Spiritual Choir this Saturday night at Rock Island Convention Center. I would love to go to that. So it's a police filing report for disorderly conduct in a restaurant at the Shea Paul. That's funny. And, ooh, there's Alan. Love Alan. Love Alan. Great. Name, Alan Rubin. Physical description. Looks Italian, acts Italian, but is Jewish. What? Clothes like dressing in fancy clothes, silk shirt, suede shoes, Italian leather boots. Often wears a tuxedo. Personal associates. Known to associate with criminals, enjoys the company of young blonde woman known as Laurie. Ooh, who is that? Likes flashing a lot of money. Often orders expensive imported champagne. Big tipper. Good for you, Alan. We love a good tipper. Oh, it's a news report from the Good Old Boys. My camera's starting to die. Being new to the country western scene, I was somewhat apprehensive when I signed to review regionally known Nashville-based CW group, the Good Old Boys, performing one night only at Bob's Country Bunker, a night spot popular with locals for beer and country western acts. I must say this group had unusual dimension to the otherwise constant twang of traditional music. Something I like about the Good Old Boys was the lack of the fancy cowboy outfits that musicians of the type always wear. This group was very refreshing. The high point of the evening was a rendition of the theme song from the early hit television series Rawhide, which was so popular among the crowd the band chose to close with a reprise. The other songs equally well received were Sing the Bismarck and Stand By Your Man. The Good Old Boys are good, and I'm sure the music world will be hearing more about them. So Sing the Bismarck, you can actually look up on YouTube. If you type in Blues Brothers Sing the Bismarck, there's actually still audio files of it. That was supposed to be in the movie. They recorded it. So there's stuff about the Good Old Boys. So basically what happened was the Blues Brothers was supposed to have an intermission, and that was going to be the intermission, was where they were going to sing the Bismarck, and it's on YouTube. So go check that out. We're almost done here. The report saying that unauthorized use of unnecessary violence and apprehension of the Blues Brothers is approved. And then here's an ad for the Palace Hotel Ballroom and a beautiful picture of Mac Guitar Murphy rocking out. So Blues Brothers fans, a lot of questions that some of you guys have is what exactly did the band get in trouble for? What were their crimes? Why did they go to jail too? So here's the answer. Harboring a fugitive, unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, theft, possession of stolen federal property, transporting stolen goods across state lines, leaving the scene of an accident, resisting arrest, additional charges, inciting a riot, possession of narcotic substances with the intent to sell, just contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Additional charges come from arrest made at 2400 hours on August 30th in the parking lot at Palace Hotel of suspects Alan Rubin, Lou Marini, Matt Murphy, Donald Dunn, Willie Hall, Steve Cropper. Escapes Tom Malone. Tom Malone escaped. At time of arrest, juvenile was found in an impounded vehicle with her shoes off, which constitutes 10% rape under special code. What? Who was the juvenile? Oh, it's a witness. Luke Candy had attended concert. So she said that the band was going to give her a ride home. Interesting. So Steve Cropper. Suspect resisted arrest, claiming that he was not an official member of the musical group called the Blues Brothers, Rhythm and Blues. Weird angle, but my camera died, so we are at the end. So this is Steve Cropper's arrest. Suspect resisted arrest, claiming that he was not an official member of the musical group called the Blues Brothers, Rhythm and Blues Review, and had not participated in any of the activities related to the rest of those band members, but was just filling in on this one performance for the group's actual guitar player, who was out sick with the flu. Suspect claims he is Amish and a very religious man, and he was only filling in because he was informed that performance was for a religious cause. Tom Bones Malone was finally caught, escaped to avoid prosecution, intoxicated, semi-conscious. So he escaped, Hawaiian Irish, 33, blah, blah, blah. Suspect, male, white, believed to be member of Blues Brothers band who escaped Palace Hotel, mass arrest, 30th August 1980. Name verified through police bulletin. Suspect was hitchhiking southbound. Suspect was very dirty as of sleeping in field. Officer Stahl noticed suspect carrying musical instrument case, trombone. When questioned, stated he was student at University of Illinois and was member of marching band there. Suspect further stated he was hitchhiking back to college for rehearsal of halftime show for Fighting Illinois opener against Wisconsin, and that he had never heard of Blues Brothers band or events that had occurred. Upon routine search, Officer Stahl found suspect cannabis and paraphernalia. More Jake and Elwood pictures. Here's Matt and Willie. Suspect Willie Hall and Matt Murphy are wanted for assault, resisted arrest, theft, and arson. Oh, and then here's a menu for the Soul Food Cafe. Picture of Matt, and they drew his guns. I have no guns, sorry about that. And I'm gonna embarrass myself. Eggs and bacon, fried chicken, smothered chicken, spaghetti, ooh, deep fried shrimp, pork chops. Now I'm hungry. I didn't eat lunch. A trail of destruction, the report for the Blues Brothers. It's a newspaper article for their arrest. That's Stephen Bishop in that picture as one of the police officers. First, Bluto breaks his guitar, and then Jake breaks his, breaks his watch. A suspicious character report, it's Blue Lou Marini. There he is. Lou Marini, alias Blue Lou, address, blah, blah, blah. Routine suspicious character arrest, June 10th, 1978. At the time, a white male with Marini's characteristics had been committing robberies in the area. Marini was questioned regarding this. It was verified that he was employed at the Soul Food Cafe. He was released. Upon further investigation, it was learned that one of the owners of the Soul Food Cafe, Matt Murphy, had served time in Terre Haute Federal Penitentiary work farm. Damage and chase of Jake and Elwood Blues. Does it say how much money it costs? Oh, it says what they destroyed. Means destruction, body, other tool, motor vehicle, combustible explosives. Oh, means of destruction, body, other tool, motor vehicle, combustible explosives. Let's see, on the highway, they destroyed road surface, curbs, guardrail, bridge, barricade, meridian fence, on-ramp, off-ramp, underpass, overpass, tunnel, pedestrian tunnel, emergency phone, lights, stop, street, warning, other, buildings, municipal, county, state, interior, exterior, vandalism, destroyed partially, forcible entry, exit, alarm mechanically altered, damage to stairway, damage to elevator, damage to window, damage to furniture, other, vehicles, police, fire, boat, helicopter, mobile arms, recreational facilities, garden, tree, public utilities, water, telephone, gas, miscellaneous, mailbox, trash container, fire hydrant, fence, bench, sidewalk, lawn, monument or statue, civil defense siren, parking meter, parking lot. Damn, there's, we got some about Donald Duck Dunn. Let's see what he does. So this is his inciting violation. So he has white shirt, black pants, pair of black pants, blue briefs with white trim, black shoes. So Jake's underwear wasn't listed. Does that mean Jake doesn't wear underwear? Does Jacob come? Okay, I'm gonna stop. E-string, hard shell base case. I have a soft base case. I can't. Fender bass. I have a Squire, which is technically a Fender, so. Donald Duck, best friends, besties, Peterson pipe, hand carved Mersham self portrait pipe, pipe with silver scrollwork, cannabis pipe. Oh, there they are. Hot. This picture is hot. I want a poster of this. I want a life-size picture of this poster. Does anyone know where I can get a poster of this? Ooh. There's Mrs. Murphy and then mysterious gas station lady. House Rocks. There's an article about their Jailhouse Rock performance in Joliet. 4 units of Illinois National Guard have been mobilized to the state's correctional center at Joliet. The troops will assist guards in restoring order to the prison, which was taken over and held for 5 hours by inmates last night. Department of Corrections spokesman stated the disturbance originated in the institution's dining room during an inmate's talent show. It was a talent show. That's cool. So that's a little more info about the movie. Officials claim a wave of extensive vandalism was sparked by performance of the Blues Brothers Band, whose 10 members were all recently admitted to Joliet. We told the troublemakers Jake and Elwood Blues to play only one song and make it a nice slow ballad, stated acting warden Warren Ward. But they just went ahead and made the whole place go crazy. I really don't know exactly how it happened. The prisoners took one guard hostage, but he was released when prisoner authorities agreed to the inmates' single demand for installation of a better quality sound system in the recreational hall. The Blues Brothers Band had planned to record some music inside the prison for Clarion Records of Boston. However, acting Warden Ward said, these boys will do their singing in isolation for the next few months. That's so sad. The Blues Brothers, the secret lives of the famous band. Lots of pictures. The photo evidence... okay, I can't remember who this lady is. This is some famous singer who was called, like, Mrs. Blues or something like that. I can't remember much info. Photo evidence. Okay, but Jake's my husband, so she's not the elusive blues wife. I am. So, and then here's a picture with all their faces. Watch on. Now the number 1 bass player in the world, Donald Duck Dunn, was once a poor panhandler. McIntyre Murphy got his nickname while working in a guitar store. Drummer Willie Hall was once a successful male model. Murphy Dunn was once a South Shore butler. Steve, Matt, Willie, and Duck at a Carnegie Hall posed backstage. Jake and Elwood are photoshopped in. I love that. Oh my god. Only McDonald's. It may look like the old classrooms where Jake and Elwood grew up, but it's actually a restaurant. A McDonald's, a Chicago restaurant. I want McDonald's fries. Oh, it's Judy! There she is! There's Judy. My girl. Love her. Sorry, I called your husband sexy like a million times in this video. She's supposed to be an anthropology student. Cool. Cool, cool. And then the last page, as long as there will be prisoners, there will be guards. And there's a picture of Curtis, and it says, is this man the real father of Jake and Elwood Blues? No, he isn't. He is Curtis Delgado, janitor and friend to all of the boys at the St. Helen Orphanage in Calumet City, the same orphanage where convicts Jake and Elwood Blues spent their childhood. Curtis claims to be the man who taught Jake and Elwood all about music. What about the parentless child? What made the 2 orphans, Elwood and Jake, turn to a life of crime? If they had a real family, would they be at home right now? Next week, Dr. Joyce Brothers talks about the orphan. Awesome. And then here's the back of the book with this very famous picture of Jake and Elwood. Okay. That was Blues Brothers Private. I hope you enjoyed this video. That was fun to talk about. I've looked through it so many times that I feel like there's a lot of stuff I missed. And I always like looking at pictures of Jake. Sorry if I fangirl too much. Actually, I definitely toned it down for this video. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you will like and comment and subscribe and let me know what else you want to see, hear about the Blues Brothers. And Blues Brothers Con is coming up soon, so hopefully I'll be there. Let me know if you're going to be there too, and let me know what you learned from this book. And if you have your own copy of this is really easy to find on eBay. If you want a copy, just type in Blues Brothers Private. The only thing is that sometimes it can be like really expensive, and sometimes it's like, I think I got mine for like $15 or something. So if you want it, I would definitely recommend searching by price, lowest to highest. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And little Jake and I say bye. Oh wait, first, before I say bye to little Jake, happy birthday, Jake. Happy birthday, Jake Blues. And little Jake and I say bye. Extra kiss for his birthday. I was going to give him 71 kisses for his birthday, but I don't think anyone wants to see that. So, bye.